the significance of the board being in Shreveport. The board was back here in 2008. The board tries to move around the state, as it should, to try to visit the various regions, and obviously we go to the places where there's a concentration of higher ed institutions, as there is in the Shreveport, Northwest Louisiana here. This morning we're going to have a special agenda that I'm asking and have asked the chancellors of our local campuses to give us a few minutes. I'd ask you gentlemen, in the interest of time, to be concise and prompt with your remarks about the highlights of what's happening on your specific campuses. And we're going to start that with Dr. Jim Henderson from Bossier Parish Community College. Welcome, Jim. We appreciate you coming.
Thank you very much, Chairman Raspberry, and to the member of the Board of Regents. Welcome to Shreveport, Bossier, my hometown, and I think one of the great parts of the country that sometimes gets overlooked. You know, yesterday we had a pretty high-profile announcement made at the Capitol by the governor that was a product of, I think, all systems of higher education in this board coming together to work towards a solution that's for some ills that have plagued us for several years. We are now in a local example of that same type of collaboration that's existed for a long time, and you know, on either side of me are two colleagues that have helped us create a higher ed environment in Shreveport, Bossier that I think is the envy for a lot of similar markets. Just in the last 3 years alone, including our partners in the Ruston area and all the way over in Monroe, we've done over 34 bilateral articulation agreements for the citizens of this area. You're sitting in a model of collaboration that I think is one that can be replicated. But I want to talk specifically about my little campus across the river in Bossier Parish Community College. We've been one of the fastest growing community colleges in the nation. In fact, the last 4 years we've been among the top 5 in our size category. We continue to grow. We've grown by about 85% in the last 4 years. And we think that that growth curve is going to continue and may even accelerate as we continue to create programs that are in demand in this regional economy. We talk about those programs. Yesterday we announced a Higher Ed Incentives Fund that was designed to drive completers in some very market-sensitive areas. And that's exactly the types of programs that we've been creating, including our cyber programs, that have led to us being designated a National Center of Academic Excellence in cybersecurity, a field that's growing, a field that continues to be in high demand, and similar STEM fields. We've developed programs that are in need by the manufacturing and the energy sectors. Our advanced manufacturing program has been designed with deep integrated input from the Manufacturing Council and other employers that are actively engaged not only in the design of the curriculum but in the delivery of the curriculum, so that we're sure that the outputs we produce are exactly what the skill sets that are in demand by our employers. Our nursing science, nursing and allied health programs continue to be the center point of our college. We created our nursing program. We graduated our 3rd class of nurses just this last December. We had a 90% cohort graduation rate on that class. We started with 50. 3 of them were displaced because they were relocated in affiliation with Barksdale Air Force Base. We had 2 that just had some issues. We had 45 successful graduates out of a cohort of 50, and they will add to, probably in the next coming weeks, our 100% since the beginning of our program passage rate on the NCLEX exam. I'm very, very proud of that. Allied Health, every one of our programs is accredited, that has an accrediting body. Our respiratory therapy program just graduated their full cohort, 100% passage rate on the licensure exam, including 1 student that set the highest exam score in the history of that exam. We're very proud of our students. I mentioned manufacturing. There is a company coming that is building a $900 million investment at the Port of Shreveport, Bossier called Bentler Steel 2. And one of the great things about an economic development project like that is that it brings the whole sector into focus. The manufacturing sector in Northwest Louisiana is one that is primed for significant growth, provided that they have the talent base that allows them to be competitive. And that's why we've invested a great deal in creating these programs designed to help this industry. This is the center that's going up on our campus now. It will be finished in May, or at least we'll be training in there in May, whether they're finished or not. They didn't start working until 10 o'clock Christmas morning. I told them that does not cut it. We're on a tight time schedule. You guys need to get to work. This facility will be a state-of-the-art facility that will meet the needs of the manufacturing sector for decades to come. It will be a showcase of this type of facility that will be the envy of the Southeast. I think we're very excited about this facility coming online. Lastly, if I didn't show this graph, I would not be welcome back on my campus. One of the announcement yesterday was a significant advance for higher education in this state, and it's one that I think that we can all rally behind and we're going to champion. But one other piece of the puzzle is the funding formula. In 2008, as part of the landmark workforce development reform legislation, were resolutions that said we have to create a funding formula that incentivizes colleges to perform and respond to the needs of their regional economies. And this board did exactly that, and you're to be applauded for that. The challenge was that such a formula was not designed to work in a time of declining resources, and we all get that. Unfortunately, because of growth and because of responsiveness, this is the result of not having the resources necessary to fund that formula. This cannot continue if we want these institutions to continue to grow and to continue to meet the needs of employers. I bring this up for just not to paint a dismal picture, one just to show you that it is a very big concern for those colleges and for any college that wants to be responsive to their regional economy. The single greatest tool in our arsenal, weapon in our arsenal to create a talent pool for our employers is to fund this market-responsive, performance-based funding formula. I know that's one that you've embraced. I know it's one you'll continue to embrace as our state resources continue to improve. We hope in the near future, this funding formula has got to be a critical component going forward. And I just wanted to thank you for that. And lastly, I just want to show you on a much lighter note, a much happier note. At BIPSI, we have a very positive outlook. Very optimistic about what the future holds. And we use this image because we think it captures everything. This is a young lady that graduated last December. We didn't know who she was. No one knew. We put her picture around campus. None of the professors really recognized her, which was troubling to me until we posted her picture on social media. And her mother replied, well, that's my beautiful daughter, Emily. She's from Houma, Louisiana. She'd never been on our campus except for one day, and that was graduation day. When she saw the pretty campus, she says, well, I wish I had taken more classes here. But this was her graduation, and we thought that her face captured everything that we're about, not just on our campus, not just at community and technical colleges, but the whole higher ed enterprise and everything that you represent, because they capture the hope for our future. That's how important this is. And that's why we're confident when we say we love what the future holds at our campus. Again, welcome to Shreveport Bossier, and we hope you enjoy your time. And if you get time, hope you'll spend some money at our casinos. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. We appreciate your leadership, and that has brought Bossier Parish Community College to the position of being the fastest growing community college in the state, if not in the nation. We are, I speak for the Board of Regents. We applaud you and your administration. It's all about leadership. Thank you. Next will be Interim Chancellor Paul Sisson from LSUS. Welcome, Paul.
Well, thank you. And welcome to Shreveport Bossier. We're glad to have you in our corner of the state. It's really a pleasure to have you up here. I'm going to give you a brief overview of our current state and how all the pieces, how our 4 campuses fit together. I'm going to start with this photo that I stole from your template. You're all very familiar with that photo. I just wanted to point out, in case you haven't looked at the T-shirt there in the middle carefully recently, that is from the LSU Shreveport campus. In fact, a couple of those students were students of mine not that long ago. I'm tempted to say that I taught them all the math that they know, but I think I would want to catch up with them and give them a pop quiz before I go on record saying that. Just another photo, and that's actually our recent motto that was adopted by our students a year ago. I think it captures what we're about very well. So I'll touch on, of course, LSUS, but also where we fit in relation to the regional high schools, Southern, BIPSI, LSU Health, and then also with our partner in Baton Rouge, LSU A&M. As Dr. Henderson mentioned, Jim is a tough act to follow. We do have tailored articulation agreements with both BIPSI and Southern. We're very proud of those. BIPSI and Southern are our biggest feeders of transfer students, and we've had tremendous success with those articulation agreements, and we're always building more. This is a fairly recent development. The Knoll Foundation, which is based at LSU Shreveport, last semester founded 10 scholarships that are specifically designed for graduates of Southern and BIPSI to come to LSU Shreveport, and has recently expanded that collection of scholarships again. Those are very lucrative scholarships and very well received. BIPSI at LSUS is an example of a different kind of partnership for students who have the goal of coming to LSU Shreveport but are not able to meet our admission standards. BIPSI at LSUS is a collaboration so that students can come to our campus, they can become familiar with our resources, take advantage of all those resources, be part of student life, but earn credit through BIPSI until they are eligible to transfer and be admitted to LSUS. We've had a number of regional, state, and federal grants in partnership with Southern in the past. I've been a PI, principal investigator, on several of those, and we have a few more in the works right now. And dual enrollment is something we have one of the biggest in the state. The number of high schools varies from semester to semester, but this semester we are partnering with 16 high schools and 5 parishes. Very high quality, very well received program. In relation to LSU Health, where we are right now, we administer a joint degree, Master of Public Health, and a number of federal grants that have a long history of great success in bringing a lot of funding to both campuses. Our other role is to be a feeder to all of the health professions, and we've been doing that for quite a few decades. And then finally, I want to mention our collaborations, our collaborative degree program delivery with LSU A&M Baton Rouge campus, also very successful. I thought that photo was a good photo to go along with this this topic. The most recent news, and maybe the most exciting news, concerns our graduate programs. A couple of years ago, we began to completely revamp and revitalize our graduate degree programs. And here are just a few of the results. We've had a 210% year-on-year increase in the enrollment in the first program that underwent that comprehensive revision. 210% increase from this time a year ago. 122% increase in enrollment in our MBA, which just began its life under its new format. And overall, our graduate enrollment this spring is up 36% from a year ago. I'm happy to announce this semester we have achieved our highest ever graduate enrollment, and the trajectory is still upwards. I think we'll be topping that again this coming fall. This is the big news as far as graduate programs go. This body, a year ago, approved our request to implement the EDD, a Doctor of Education in Leadership Studies. Our level change that we submitted to SACS, Commission on Colleges, in September, received the approval that we needed in December. And so we have admitted our first cohort. At this point, in fact, a week ago today, our first cohort of 22 students entered this program. They were selected from 70 that completed the application and more than 300 that have started application to that program. Just one last slide, a few more exciting things happening here. Last fall, we implemented 8-week terms to go along with our 16-week traditional semester. That has been very well received. It's a way to increase access and decrease time to completion for degree programs. Of course, we've just begun, so I can't give you too much more detail on that yet, but it's got a good start. And finally, the last thing I'll say, we're doing all this with an eye towards keeping this commitment. We have always provided excellence in education at an affordable cost, and we will continue to do so. Again, welcome to Shreveport Bossier.
Thank you, Paul. We appreciate your work and your capacity. LSU's done a wonderful job of increasing the programs here in Northwest Louisiana and Shreveport Bossier. That's extraordinarily important. And your work with answering the workforce needs and demands of our business and industry on a local basis, but also with state, and I'm most appreciative of that. Next will be my friend Dr. Ray Belton from Southern. Ray, welcome. We appreciate you coming.
Well, good morning. It is indeed hard to follow my colleagues. Speaking of pictures, I have to tell my staff to kind of update this dated picture. I have black hair before these budget cuts. I'd like to bring greetings on behalf of Dr. Mason, the faculty and staff, and most importantly, the students of Southern University at Shreveport. It's always a pleasure to come before this body. As I recall, the last formal meeting here in Shreveport was hosted by Southern University at Shreveport, and we were delighted to make a presentation then, as is the case today. Just wanted, for the benefit of new board members, in most of my presentations, I'd like to just start out with our mission, emphasizing the fact that Southern University at Shreveport takes great pride in focusing its attention on the total community. We have 3 centers of excellence to which we operate within the MLK campus. We have a downtown campus on Texas Street called our Metro Center, and we have a program at the downtown airport which houses our FAA-approved aerospace technology program. And the university, several years ago, we established some core values that really guide what we do and how we do it. And it speaks to our dedication to excellence, integrity, accountability, and service. And this slide as well is kind of dated, but we take great pride in knowing that that amongst a survey of 322 other 2-year campuses about 2 years ago, we were recognized as one of the best performing 2-year institutions of our size by the University of Texas. And so where we champion and embrace excellence, we think we're moving in the right direction. And that survey in part spoke to our engagement with students, and that's very important for Southern to have an appreciation that we take a student where they are and try to refine them so that we could appropriately influence their quality of life. As well, in terms of moving down this road, we are quite proud of our institutional outcomes in terms of our graduation rate, our retention rate, and the degree to which, as late as 2009, our completers have increased by 46% at the institution. And, you know, the fact that, you know, in the last few years that we've had no financial aid findings as documented by the legislative auditors and the independent auditors, and for the last 2 years, no findings on our annual financial report. Of course, the first year of GRAD Act was somewhat interesting, I would say, but indeed we passed the GRAD Act. We continue, thanks Larry, we continue to think that what we are is represented in our academic programs. And indeed, this year we were actually proud to launch 2 programs that's going to be facilitated 100% online at Southern. But what is interesting, and it boils down to the degree to which we're making an impact in the state. And last year, we were noted by the Community College Week that we were ranked 88th in the production of African-American students in the state of Louisiana, 88th. And that's kind of lofty, but when you recognize that there are over 1,200 community colleges in this nation, that's pretty significant. The only other college, a 2-year college in the state of Louisiana, who was noted here was Delgado. And here we're talking about institution. How many students? About 13,000? 19,000 students as compared to Southern, who this year recognized its largest enrollment in the history of the university at just over 3,000 students. That's significant in our view, and it really speaks to the degree to which we think that we are fulfilling our role, scope, and mission as an institution. And speaking of service, you know, Southern's, we find that our role is twofold, not only to provide academic offerings that, again, have the potential of influencing one's quality of life, but also helping drive economic development in our community. And one of the things that we found committed to do was to be a driver for economic development in Northwest Louisiana. We took I think this used to be a Church's Chicken franchise just across the street from us, and we reform that to a center of economic development where we now facilitate as many as 10 businesses and help them shape and provide technical assistance and help shape business incubation for them. The other thing is we're co-developers, so to speak, of David Raines Health Center that's right across the street from us, and we are actually working on trying to establish a town center and gas station or a food mart in our community. Guess what? Look, when I was building this facility, I was out there just gleaming at the work that we were doing. A guy rode up on a bicycle, and he said, "What are y'all building out there?" I said, "Look, we're building this business incubator." And he said, "Hell, we need a grocery store up here." You know, excuse my comment. You know, but again, someone has to drive this kind of innovation, and we feel that Southern is that entity to do that. If not us, who? These years have been interesting for Southern, for higher education in the state of Louisiana, particularly for the Southern University system. Under the leadership of Dr. Mason, we have embraced this transformational plan, and we are actualizing that plan right now. As it pertains to Southern, it required of us, or imposed on us, to kind of rethink how we operate. We've restructured the framework to which we operate. And one of the outcomes of that was the establishment of this College Connect program, where we work in concert with the Baton Rouge and Suno campus in providing the first 18 hours toward college credit for students who have aspirations to attend those institutions. Last year, for example, I think we enrolled as many as 600 students collectively through this program, and it has great potential, of course, for increasing. But look, I wanted to just take this moment to really thank this board for its support. And I think within the next month, we hope to bid this new classroom building, something that has been long-standing for Southern University at Shreveport, and it comes as a result of your support. So we just want to express our appreciation for that. We continue to have aspirations to establish an independent school of nursing in downtown Shreveport, and we hope that that project will take wings this spring. But what is significant, and what you will be hearing about at Southern University at Shreveport, is the degree to which, again, having taken a critical look at who we are, the degree to which we have chosen to expand our role and mission into providing more career and technical opportunities for the constituents in Northwest Louisiana. And so, indeed, we are looking at trying to build the infrastructure to support those kind of enterprises and providing immediate access in response to the workforce demands of Northwest Louisiana. Like Jim, who's a brilliant guy, he really is a brilliant guy.
He wasn't on the bicycle, was he?
He wasn't on the bicycle. This is what it's all about, and we do take great pride and joy in having and being afforded the opportunity, if you will, to affect a positive change in the life of our students. I will just end in recognizing this. I've had the great privilege of serving Southern University for over a decade as chancellor. And so I would ask for your indulgence as I recognize members of our board who were here. That's why I've been able to serve for a decade. And so I want to acknowledge, of course, the vice chair of our board, Joe Gant, who was here earlier, Mr. Willie Hendricks, who serves as the chair of our finance committee, and of course your colleague, Dr. Leon Tarver, who served as the chair of the Academic Affairs Committee. Thank you so very much, and again, welcome back to Southern University. Welcome back to Shreveport, and affording us the opportunity to make this presentation this morning.
Thank you, Ray. I and my colleagues on the board congratulate you on your enrollment record. That is not by chance, not by luck. That only comes with hard work, and we understand that, and we appreciate that. You've done a wonderful job in answering the needs of small business and community development in your area. That's because of your leadership. We recognize that, and we appreciate you very much. I do as a citizen of this part of the state. I know what your institution does, as Jim's does, and what Paul's does for the character and the culture that we all enjoy in this part of the state of Louisiana.